Hi, welcome all. We are going to have this session today on self-sabotaging behavior. The reason it is very important topic because these behavior patterns are very common that you will observe in yourselves and maybe people around you. And that's why I think sometimes we know them, we recognize them, but there is hardly we do anything about it because we convince ourselves that these behavior patterns are a part of myself. This is me is kind of a justification talk that we have with ourselves, right? So we are being affected by them. Okay, how do they affect? They affect our success in life, they affect our relationships, they affect our growth and happiness and general overall well-being. And these behaviors are often stem from deep rooted fears and self-image problem, and they manifest themselves as a lot of unresolved emotional issues that we have, and we develop these emotional issues and problems as we growing up in our lives, and they become our patterns of our life. They become kind of a caricature of who we are, and we convince ourselves that these are basically, if I say, if somebody asks me what are self-sabotaging behavior, so these are actions and thought patterns in which we react and respond to the external world, whether it is your personal environment, professional environment, social environment. When you're interacting with people, each and every aspect of our lives are dictated and influenced by these behavioral patterns. So the name suggests very clearly it's a self-sabotaging. If you have these patterns of behaviors, what it is doing is, number one, it is limiting you to do, have, or be whatever is that you want to be. Okay. And there are various kinds of self-sabotaging behavior that you may see in other people, or some of them probably may be present in yourself. So what I will do is I will talk you through some of these very common self-sabotaging behaviors that we experience in our day-to-day life. And the first and the foremost that I put on the list is called procrastination. Procrastination is a thought process whereby I would put things to be done later, no matter how important or urgent something may be. But I would have this automatic thought process which tells me, okay, I will do it later. So you put it away, or you avoid it or ignore it, and you keep doing it. So this is a pattern you will find is very commonly observed in most people, and we think it's quite normal, it's okay, and we develop these habits. Procrastination is a habit that we develop, and we feel this is how it should be, this is how it is, and there's nothing wrong with it. But what happens is, we end up prioritizing distractions over meaningful work. So you have to do something, but there is some kind of a distraction, maybe a television program, maybe a guest, maybe anything else, that will take priority over what you must do. Okay, so we keep procrastinating, usko baad mein kar lenge kind of attitude that we have, and that we sometimes we avoid taking responsibility due to some underlying or benign fear or anxiety that we have. If I do this, what may happen, what may go wrong. So this is called putting things for a later period becomes a habit. Okay, so it's a quite self-sabotaging behavior, and often you will find people find themselves into 11th hour, and tomorrow morning you have to submit your report, which you had 2-3 weeks to complete. Okay, but because of it, you keep postponing it till you are, pushed to the wall, and now you have no choice or no option but to do it. Otherwise, you'll have to face severe consequences. Okay, And so this is the procrastination for you. And the second one is, which is also very common, and we probably don't even acknowledge or recognize it, and it is called negative self-talk. We talk negatively. We have negative expectation from our own selves. Whenever there's an opportunity presenting us, we already assume that, oh, I'm not good at it. I wouldn't be able to do it. Or even if I do it, I may not succeed it, or I may not do it well. Okay. So whatever, so it's, you have this negative self-talk constantly goading you, constantly, dominating your decisions, dominating your opportunities, and putting you away from taking them on, right? So it's just negative self-talk, and some people do recognize it, and they don't know why it is happening to me. Why do I do it all the time like this? And we wonder, but it is affecting all aspects of our life. Okay, and so we because of it, we have, often we become very, very harshly self-critical, and we always self-doubt. I don't think I will be able to do it. I don't think I'm cut out for it. I don't think I am good or better at this than them or them, the other people. And we keep on focusing on our weaknesses rather than our strengths, because that has become our thinking pattern. Always self-doubting, always being critical, always undermining or undervaluing your own self. Okay, so this becomes a thought pattern, and these thought patterns then start to dictate what we do in life. And I'm not sure how many people are consciously aware of it, that they have developed these patterns, but whether you have or whether you have not, nonetheless, it is affecting your day-to-day life, personal, professional, social, and whatever field of life. That's what happens. And so you, as a result of it, when you are entertaining these negative self-talks over a period of time, it becomes your belief system. You believe that you're not good enough, or a lot of the time you will hear people say, I know I will never succeed. I know I can't do it. I know, I'm not destined for good things or better things in life. So these are my belief patterns. And I live with those belief patterns. So procrastination, putting things, later for later, negative self-talk, and third thing is perfectionism. Perfectionism by itself is not bad. And I think when I'm trying to explain perfectionism, you have to be very careful and listen to me what I'm trying to say. Perfectionism by itself is not bad. All of us try to be good at whatever we do. And that's what we hear all our life. Our elders, our teachers, and people around us telling us, our employers are wanting us to be good and excellent in doing whatever we do. It's not a problem. When perfectionism becomes a problem, it becomes a problem when you have this goading thought in your mind that you must be perfect. Whatever you do, you must do it to the best of your ability, and not being perfect is not good enough for you. When you have this kind of a thought pattern or thoughts in your mind, you must know that you have a problem with it. Okay, so perfectionism makes you into binary thinking patterns. If you're not on the top, it means you're flop. If you don't win the race, even if you're second in the race, it means you have failed. So you can't see the gray in between. If you think about it, the one person who has won the race, who is better than you only by a few seconds, what is the difference between the two? Hardly anything. You are equally competent athlete as the one who has won the race this time. There are many occasions when you have won the race, so many times, others haven't. But for you, being perfect at everything that you do, and when it becomes an internal pressure, then it's a problem. And you will find it's a very, very common symptom, psychological, emotional symptom that most people suffer. Because of that, what happens is, because you know whatever needs doing, whether at home, office, or out in society, nobody can do it as good as you can do it. You end up taking responsibility for everybody else. So why you are working like a donkey, others are sitting and enjoying their life. Why? Because you don't let them do anything, because you know in your mind they won't do the job as good as you can do. And then because of it, you are tired, you are exhausted, and you are frustrated because nobody else is taking the finger out. You have to do everything every time, and then you start complaining, and never things never seems to change around you. Why? Because you can't understand why people cannot do the way you do it, right? And it's a constant problem. So you never learn to delegate. And because you don't have these kind of leadership skills, because everything you are trying to do it yourself, right? So you miss, and because everybody sees you that this guy is good at doing what he does, but he does not work as a team. He does not allow other people opportunity. He does not share work, So people who, despite being excellent doing whatever you do, people don't see you as a leadership material or management material. People are always, you are at always, in confrontational relationship with people, because you always argue and fight with people because they're not doing things as per your expectations or your standard. So you're constantly in argument with people. So perfectionism is like a psychological, I don't want to use the word disease, but actually it is a disease because it makes you unease. You will always be at unease, So setting, as a result of it, you set unrealistic expectation for yourself and others, and you never feel satisfied with the results because you could have done it better, or somebody could have done it better, or you delay and avoid taking tasks to prevent imperfection. So perfectionism is a quite a detailed subject in itself, and there are so many types of perfectionism that people suffer with. Obviously, in this short session, obviously I can't be taking a class on perfectionism, but anyway. And the next one in the category of self-sabotaging behavior comes the fear of failure. Equally, fear of success. This is a self-defeating behavior itself. So you anticipate an outcome where you see that you may not succeed, or you may not, or you will fail. You have already anticipated it in you, and as a result, what you do is you don't take opportunities because what is the point? I will fail. I won't succeed anyway, and then you undermine our efforts when success seems within your reach. You have run all the way to the goal post, and just when you need to put little extra speed to your run, you tend to give up, and then you complain, because this thought is goading you in your mind that you will never succeed or you will fail. The fifth one in the category is the overcommitment, as well as pleasing behavior, pleasing people. Pleasing, you're constantly trying to please people, and you keep saying yes to everything that somebody asks you to do, whether you can do it or not. But you cannot afford to say no, because people will be unhappy, people will not like it, people will be annoyed with you. So you overcommit, and because you have overcommitted, and you know that you don't have the confidence in yourself that you will be able to pull it through, then you are struggling. You're frightened, and you don't know what to do because you have overcommitted yourself. Then you're huffing and puffing, and you're sweating, and you're stressing. So your life has become stressful, and to the extent that you ignore your own needs in order to seek other people's approval, or to ensure that people are happy because of you. So making sure people are happy, you constantly seeking their approval all the time. And this is quite common as well. You see all it around you. And because of it, what happens is you resent, because everybody is just coming in and dumping upon you. So there's no, there's a lack of boundaries in your life, and then you wonder, everybody comes in, everybody has their own priority, nobody has a respect for my own. You don't say anything, but you are thinking in your mind, you're cursing, and you're getting frustrated because of it, because that's what you have created, an environment. You have created no boundaries around you. When there is no boundary to a house, anybody can walk in. Anybody, not even just humans, even animals can just quickly, walk into your house. Why? Because there's no restrictions. You have no clarity. You have not established that clarity about you, or you have not clarified the rules of engagement so far as your relationships are concerned. And because of those lack of rules of engagement, meaning boundaries, anybody feels free to walk into your life, and they walk out of your life as and when they please. The next one is the self-destructive habits that we have. It's like, engaging in unhealthy behaviors, overeating, substance abuse, reckless spending money, impulsive buying, and we do those sort of things. And these destructive habits have deep-seated root into my sense of self. There's a sense of deprivation in my life, and sense of you can call it low self-esteem is the main cause why we have these self-sabotaging behaviors, particularly the destructive habits that we have. Just lying for the sake of lying. Why? Because you don't feel confident that if I tell the truth, the people will accept me. So we have these habits. And because of that, we sabotage our relationship because of insecurity and fear that we have, deep into ourselves. So we sabotage our relationships, because we are not open. We are always trying to please other people, and we are overcommitting ourselves. So all these factors that I've explained to you, though they may sound different, but they are all interconnected. They are all manifestation of, or the symptoms of, my personality, which is low in your own evaluation. You have a low evaluation of your own self. In the psychological terms, it is called low self-esteem. So self-sabotaging behaviors are erupting out of my low self-esteem. And because of it, as part of destructive behavior, we ignore our own self. We ignore our own care, because you may not eat yourself. Why? Because you want to make sure the other person eat it. It's a good habit. See, I'm not saying you should not feed other people. We should feed or look after other people. That's fine. But the point is not at the cost of your own self. But we don't even know that we do it. Lack of sleep, no exercise. Why? Because you don't have time for yourself. You want to make sure that everybody is comfortable and sleeping, whether you sleep or not. Because if you sleep, then you have to worry about next morning whether everybody would have tea and biscuits and breakfast and all those sort of things. You're constantly on the go. So you're not sleeping, you're not taking care of, you don't have time for your own self, you don't do your yoga classes, you don't do your morning walks, or whatever that may be for you, right? It's all part of those destructive habits that we develop over a period of time, right? And because of all these kind of things that we have discussed, we are avoiding growth and change. Why we avoid growth and change? Because we are satisfied with what I have right now. I restrict feedback or constructive criticism because I can't handle it. And because of my fears and anxiety for trying new things or new opportunities, I develop my around myself a zone which is commonly known as comfort zone. I have to do this and this. I should work between 9 o'clock to 5 o'clock. I must watch television program every day. I must do these things. So you have a circle around you and you live your life within that environment where you feel safe, protected, and comfortable. And because of it, you must have heard a lot of people and motivational speakers talk about it, and they say the success and happiness is always outside of the comfort zone. It's never inside of it. And whenever opportunity presents us, or whenever there are opportunities in life where if you put little bit extra effort, you can change your life, we come up with excuses. You know what? I would have loved to do it, but there's always a but. Why? Negative self-talk is at work. Negative self-talk is telling you, what is the point of me getting out of my comfort zone, going through this pain? I know I would not succeed anyway. What is the point? Negative self-talk. Right? So we remain confined into that cocoon that we have built around ourselves. And there's another very, very common sabotaging behavior that we will find is called seeking validation from others all the time. Whether I consciously seek it, unconsciously seek it, or I'm seeking in my thoughts, but I'm definitely, all my effort, all my actions are directed at seeking validation or approval, particularly from people who are important in my life. I must seek approval. Most people cannot have this thought in their mind to see their parents particularly unhappy with them because they have done something which they do not approve or which they do not approve of. So even that thought that some of these important people in my life may not be happy gives me shiver down my spine. I'm constantly seeking approval. Have I done? Is it okay? Is that fine? Can I do it? How did you think? What do you think? What do you think? This is we develop these kind of behaviors. Again, this self-approval or seeking approval is deep rooted into my self-image or my sense of self, what I think about myself. So I think that so these are 8 particular patterns of behaviors that I've shared with you. There may be others if you want to share with me. And because they have become like habits over a period of time, it appears and feels like that I will not be able to change it. Here I want to give you good news. It can be changed just like that. I would be far too out if I suggest that all these patterns that I have talked about, behavioral patterns, which have a sabotaging effect on you and your life, whether it is your personal relationship, family life, social life, professional life, your opportunities and how you avoid them or ignore them, how you see other people succeeding, why you are still slogging where you started your job 20 years ago. All these things is happening because of you, because you think, God has not made you for success or happiness. It's not God. It is you who have made yourself that way. And none of these things are real. If you remember my first statement, I said sabotaging behaviors are actions and thought patterns. This is how you have created your thoughts. And now thoughts are ruling your life. And thoughts are not rocks. They can be dismantled only if you want to change it. If you happy with what I say, miserable life, God bless you. Nothing needs to change. But I don't think anybody should unnecessarily stay in the hell that we have created for ourselves. It can be changed like that. All we'll have to do is change the way I think about myself. This is where my role comes in. And a lot of people will say, how do you overcome self-sabotaging behavior? Well, you can do so many things. Should I read a list? Okay, here I go. Self-awareness. You become self-aware. Identify your patterns of thoughts and your actions. What thoughts are negative thoughts are tricking in your mind. You have to spend time to become self-aware. Self-aware is a very, very important module for counselors and coaches. They have to spend weeks, if not months, to start this process and remain engaged all through their life to become self-aware. But it's a suggestion that every professional will make. Become self-aware, and you can say, yeah, right. If I could, I would have, but I have not. Okay. He says, change limiting beliefs. See, I wouldn't call it problem, but a lot of people will tell us, do this, do this, do that. If you challenge your limiting belief, you will have enabling belief. Yeah, that's a mathematical equation. But question is, how do I do it? If I could done it, if I could do it, I would have done it long time ago. Why would I waste my life? I've gone into my 30s, 40s, and 50s, and now 60. If I could change it, I would have changed it long time ago. And then say, set realistic goal. Yeah, because of my perfectionism, my realistic goal is always going to be unrealistic. My unrealistic goals seem to me like realistic goals because I'm a perfectionist. So if you ask me to set realistic goal, I have always been setting unrealistic goal. Is that I was not aware that what I'm setting for myself is unrealistic. But that's a suggestion. Then it's a practice self-compassion that somebody can do. But you can only practice self-compassion when you can stop your attention from other people. You're constantly busy with pleasing other people. If you're constantly engaged as a strategy of your life in order to seek approval, to please people around you, whether they are your children, whether your husbands and wives, whether your parents, teachers, employers, bosses, and a whole lot of other people of importance in your community, when we are so engaged in pleasing people, if your mind and the stream of your thought is conditioned to run outside all the time, how do you turn the attention of your mind towards yourself in order to practice self-compassion? It's a good advice. Very good advice. Self-compassion. Be compassionate towards yourself. It's a good advice. Then he said, develop discipline. Take consistent small action towards growth. That is something everybody can do. Develop, develop some discipline. Sleep on time, wake up on time, do some little exercise, eat healthy, do this, do that, whole lot of things that you do, then life becomes boring in a week's time. Because you cannot because we have learned to live in a comfort zone. Comfort zone only allows you to do things which are of comfort. Waking up 4 o'clock to gain 2 extra hours a day, it's a lot of effort. Eating salads and fruits when cakes and pastries are only there on the table. So what do I choose? Tasty, tingly stuff or boring salad? Yeah, but develop self discipline. That's what people say. Develop self discipline. Seek support. That everybody can do. Talk to a mentor, counselor, or trusted friend. And because of that, I am making myself available to all of you who are keen, and interested. And a lot of these themes and series of themes that we are having discussions about. Last session we had was on emotional resilience. This session is on self-sabotaging behavior. And I don't know what Arpit is going to put forward next time. But whatever that may be, you will find lot of these issues that we are talking about, this behavioral pattern that we have identified and talked about and discussed today, they are affecting our life on a day-to-day basis. It's not that you have broken your leg and you are disabled for a week or 2 or 10, and once you have repaired your bones and you are back on your feet, everything is back to normal. It's not. Psychological and emotional issues and concern stay with you all the time, every day of your life, and they affect you, they bother you, they harass you, and to the extent life feels like miserable, and we choose to stay there. It's not nobody has asked us to be like that. We are choosing to stay and be miserable, and then we wonder why it is happening to you. Well, it is happening to you because you're choosing to stay there. The day you decide you want to get out of it, you can. Obviously, as I said, you need somebody to guide you, help you, mentor you, counsel you, and take you, show you, walk the path with you, guide you through that process, and it can be achieved. We can get out of our miserable life and open the door for success, happiness, and well-being. Why it is happening, not happening? Because of my thoughts. And I don't know how many of you know the entire book that is called Gita in Sanatan Sanskriti is written in order to understand the nitty-gritties of thoughts, how they occur in our mind, how they formulate the way they do, and how then they affect my actions and behaviors, and how they become responsible or the seed for my destiny. And if you look at this story, it is a very similar story to your life and my life. This guy called, it's not that these emotional issues are only affecting people who are not successful in life or who are not educated. No, you could be highly educated, you could be a rocket scientist, but you don't know how to manage your life. I read a story in 2018 somewhere in newspaper. This IAS officer killed himself. You know why? Because he could not handle his emotions. He could not tolerate this nagging fight that was happening between his wife and his mother. IAS officer, supposedly cream de la cream, so far as the intellect is concerned or brilliance is concerned. Brilliant mind of India. Why he finished his life? Because he has never spared 2 minutes in his life to spend on himself. He does not know how the internal system works. Only solution he could find is to finish his life. So point is, so what I'm saying is, so Arjun was a brilliant archer, hero of his time. Nobody could stand in front of him knowing that they are going to have a war or fight with Arjun. The prospect of fighting will lose their confidence. It was so highly professional as an archer he was. Fierce warrior. But when it came to fighting with his own, he lost all his confidence to the extent he became hysterical and he dropped on his knees and he refused to fight. So Lord Krishna understood if this guy has got, you know, fooled by his own thoughts, he's got entangled in his own thoughts. So through 18 chapters, all he's doing is helping him to understand the system better. And when he manages to do it, towards the end of it, he rises on his feet, he lifts his bow and arrow, and he says, I am ready to fight. Meaning, I am ready to live my life of success, happiness, and well-being. That's what it is. So I hope you enjoyed listening to and hand it over to Arpit. Here you go, Arpit. Thank you.
Yes, Anupam, that was amazing. So we have a few new people. Priya has joined in. She has signed up for the session. She had a few questions.
Yeah.
I see one question in the chat by Himanshi Pradhan, which says we have two kinds of behaviors. One is a learned behavior while growing up, and from our environment. The other is genetic behavior, which we get from our parents, grandparents, both.
Okay. We can have a discussion and debate on it, Himanshi. I don't know whether behaviors are genetic. Our body may behave in a genetical manner. My facial expression would be very similar to my parents or my grandparents or somebody in my lineage. My body physique could be like that, or my complexion, my mannerism, the way I talk, a whole lot of those things can resemble with my ancestors. But so far behaviors are concerned, they are, majority of them are learned behaviors. Majority of them. We learn them, and there are different streams of behavioral sciences in psychology, and one of the most commonly practiced stream of behavioral psychology is called CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy, which very authoritatively establishes the link between behaviors with thoughts and thoughts with my belief system. So if I have a certain texture of my belief, my thoughts cannot be anything other than my belief. And if my thoughts are of certain texture and nature, I cannot behave outside of my thought process. This is very well established psychological and scientific fact. Okay, I don't know, Himanshi, whether I've answered your question, but most behaviors which are learned can be unlearned, if that's what you're seeking to know. Any more questions? Thank you.
Okay. Sure. So questions, I have a few more, but I think those people couldn't join in today because of some network issue or they were traveling.
Yeah.
But the floor is open. If anyone wants to ask any question, just please go ahead. If anything related to what we are talking about, or if you have anything specific related to maybe emotions management, related to relationships, related to finding clarity in what you're doing at the moment, could be anything, right?
Or in the meantime, Arpit, may I ask if you can, the list of questions that people have sent you, something that you think is common, of interest, common interest, you can ask them while people are thinking. I can respond to one of those questions.
Sure. So one question came in from Geeta, which is people being insensitive triggers me. So peace of mind is something, and she's looking to when they say triggers, it means practical solution, something worthy that can help her handle the stress at that moment. So basically, she gets affected a lot by the actions of others.
Yeah.
That is something that's beautiful.
Yes, all of us, I think, whatever that may be, see, we are so conditioned that we keep reacting and responding to the external environment all the time. All the time. Because we don't know, what we can do apart from that, you know. So, for example, I often use this analogy. When let's say somebody is shouting at you, somebody is being angry at you, it affects you. It affects you because you think, oh, I've been insulted, I've been shouted at, I've been demeaned, I've been undermined, and whatever that you may conclude out of this behavior that you just observed, right? This guy is shouting at you. He's not doing anything. He's not asking you to do anything. He's simply shouting, hurling abuses. In your mind, you have interpreted this behavior you have observed or heard from your ears, and you have decided it's my insult. The moment you decide it is my insult, your corresponding emotions and feelings will get erupted in you. And you will feel the insult not only at your mental level but also at your body level. And it feels real. And you end up blaming, because of you, I got angry, or you insulted me. You will blame the external factors, right? Now, just think about it. If you're walking a street, if a dog starts to bark, would you have the same response or reaction to the dog? Answer is no. You may be frightened or you may change your lane, but you're not going to stand there and argue and fight. How dare you bark at me? I'm going to, do this to you, do that. You don't do it. Why? Because you don't understand what the damn thing was talking about. This dog is barking and you expect a dog to bark. Don't we? Because I expect a dog to bark, and moreover, I don't know what the dog is saying to me, I just ignore and walk off. I don't feel angry. I don't feel insulted. I have no emotions that get erupted in me, apart from maybe a sense of fear or anxiety for a few seconds, because you thought dog might bite you. Because of that, you may have a very short-lived fear in you, and that's about it. But you don't feel emotional about it. You don't say, "Oh, dog insulted me," or dog shouted at me. You don't do it. Why? Because you don't know what the dog is talking about. Because you are not able to interpret or analyze the dog's behavior, you have no emotional impact on you. So most of us have learned that for everything that goes wrong with me in my life, there must be factors external to me that are responsible for my emotional upheaval, so to speak. So all the negative emotions that I'm experiencing every day, all the days, other people are responsible for it. Why? Because I have no clue about how my internal system works. And I possibly can't make myself angry, can I? But if I'm angry, it must be somebody who is making me angry. So that is the argument we have every day in our family, in our work environment, on the street, on the shopping mall. So whatever goes wrong, I have to accuse and blame somebody for that. And if we keep doing it, you will keep getting repetitive negative experience of negative emotions all the time. And that's what happens to us all the time. And those people who develop little bit of understanding and they have a clarity of system, the internal system, जिसको संस्कृत में बोलते हैं अंतःकरण. Sanskrit में there is a word for it. It's called antahakaran, internal mechanisms, internal system, internal instruments. When you develop a little better understanding that how these instruments operate and how do I generate or invoke emotions in me, whether it is negative or positive, you will gain better control on your emotional life. If you know that the locus of my happiness or my sorrow is not external, but it is internal to me, then I am much better position, aren't I? Then I can manage my emotions in a much better way than remaining dependent on the external circumstances to fall in place as per my expectations or change according to my expectations, which is never going to happen. So most of us wait for our entire life. So we what do we do? We break our relationships because in this relationship my partner is making me unhappy. We change the job, we change the city, we change the country, and we do all those sort of things. Why? Because where I am unhappy, and because in my view my external environment is responsible for my misery and my unhappiness, I must find a better environment. So we keep changing our external environment in all our life. No matter how much money you may be earning, but you are psychologically not satisfied. What do? You go to the next company where you think you will be happy. And probably you are happy for a few months while you are settling into the job. And then you're back to where you started, unhappy again. So I don't know, Priya or whosoever question that was, that when people are insensitive, you know it triggers and you become stressed and angry. Yeah, it's true for all sorts of things, not just insensitive things. Insensitive is your interpretation. Insensitivity is an interpretation of you. So whatever you think is insensitive triggers certain emotions in you, and you suffer those emotions. You become angry, you become frustrated, you become whatever. I don't know. There's a host of emotions that erupt in you, and if you don't take charge and control of it, it will continue to happen to you. Idea is take charge of them. And how do you can take charge of it? uh, Arpit is going to invite you. That's where I think we are inviting people. If you really want to turn a new leaf to your life and you want to succeed doing whatever, success does not really mean making more money. That is not success. Success is achieving whatever I set my mind to. That is success. It would be money, it would be anything. I don't know how you define it, but in my view, success is having the ability to do what I want to do and go out and achieve it. But because of these self-sabotaging behaviors that we have developed over our lifetime, they keep limiting us. Hence, we are not successful. Hence, we are not happy. Hence, we are not, physically, psychologically well ourselves.